Welcome to the European Association for Higher Education Advancements YouTube and podcast channel. We're doing a deep dive today into online education.
Okay.
And specifically looking at a question that came in
Right.
about how to pick a good program,
Yeah.
with so many out there.
Right.
So listeners particularly interested in the role of accreditation,
Mhm.
especially in Europe.
Okay.
And to help us sort through this,
Yeah.
we're going to turn to a page right from the European Association for Higher Education Advancement, EAEA.
Makes sense.
It's tough out there with the explosion of all these online programs.
Oh, absolutely. It's a real jungle out there.
How can you know if you're really getting
It's so hard to know.
a quality education?
To know where to even begin.
Yeah, and that's where this whole idea of accreditation comes in.
Right.
So maybe we can start with you giving us a little bit of a definition.
Yeah.
What is accreditation?
Yeah. Accreditation is like a quality control system.
Okay.
It's an independent process where an organization like EAEA
Okay.
examines a university or a school to see if it meets certain quality standards.
Okay, so it's more than just...
And these standards cover everything from the curriculum design and teaching.
Does the website look good?
Exactly. It's about looking deeper.
Or does it have, flashy name or whatever?
You want to make sure there's substance behind the style,
Yeah.
for example.
So what kind of things?
EAEA looks very closely at whether the leadership is effective
Okay.
and whether the school has clear goals.
Mhm.
They also want to see evidence that the curriculum is good.
Right, so it leads to
It leads to good outcomes.
learning.
Yeah.
And that you're actually, getting what you paid for.
Exactly. You're not just getting a certificate.
Yeah.
You're developing real skills and knowledge.
It can be applied.
Right.
Now, I know that there are different types of accreditation.
Yes, there are.
So can you talk a little bit about how they differ and maybe which one our listeners should be most focused on?
Okay, so you've got regional accreditation,
Mhm.
which is very common in the U.S.
Okay.
That's where a group like the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools
Okay.
will cover a specific geographic area.
Mhm.
And then you have national accreditation.
Right.
And each country kind of has their own standards for that.
Got it. But for someone who's interested in studying online
Mm-hmm.
and maybe wants to have that qualification recognized in a bunch of different countries,
Right.
what then?
That's where international accreditation comes in.
Yeah.
Like EAEA, they focus on making sure the quality is recognized globally.
Gotcha. So for our listener, it sounds like really focusing on programs offered by those EAAEA accredited institutions.
Yes, that's a great place to
All right,
start.
it's a smart move.
It shows that the institution has been carefully evaluated
Okay.
and that it meets high standards.
Now, when EAE accredits a university,
Right.
they're not just looking at, one program by itself.
That's right.
They're taking this holistic view.
Mhm. It's called institutional accreditation.
Okay, can you explain what that means?
Yeah, they look at the whole institution.
So how?
Everything from their vision to the student experience.
So everything fits together.
Exactly.
Okay.
So like at the faculty qualifications or the curriculum.
So it's really about making sure that all those pieces work together to
Plus
create
the
this
cohesive, high
smooth
quality.
learning environment. Yeah.
And that's different from programmatic accreditation,
Okay.
where they just focus on one specific program.
Gotcha. So E as approach is really about
And
that,
broad assurance.
looking at the whole institution.
Yes.
Okay, so we've established that accreditation is this sign of quality. And that EA's focus on this institutional accreditation
Mm-hmm.
is particularly relevant for online learners
Yeah.
in Europe. But let's get practical.
Sure.
What are some of the specific things that they're looking for?
Well, one of the first things is the vision and the mission of the school.
Okay.
Is the institution really focused on the students? Are they really trying to prepare them for the real world?
Because you can have a beautiful mission statement,
Exactly.
but if it's not reflected in the actual student experience, it doesn't really matter.
That's right. What else? They also look at the curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
Is it well designed? Engaging?
Mm-hmm.
Does it use innovative teaching methods?
So they're really getting into the weeds
They really are.
of what that experience looks like.
Yeah, and they look at the institution's commitment to continuous improvement.
Okay, so it's not just like you check the box and you're done.
No, they want to see that the school is trying to constantly get better.
Yeah.
So they're looking for places that are constantly seeking feedback.
So it's really this dedication to ongoing growth.
And evolution.
So this all sounds incredibly thorough, but how can a listener actually use this information?
But a good starting point is to look for institutions that display their EAEA accreditation.
And where would they find that?
Usually it's on their website.
Okay. And if they can't find it,
Just ask. Any reputable institution should be happy to tell you.
and if they're hesitant,
Yeah, that might be a red flag.
transparency is key.
Exactly.
So if they're open about it, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Now, accreditation is obviously very important. It's this big signal, but it's not the only thing.
Right.
You should still
You should still do your
research the programs, look at the faculty.
Read reviews.
That's like that.
Exactly.
It's just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. And we'll continue this conversation in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
And we'll talk about some of the specific benefits
Okay.
of choosing an accredited program and how that can impact your future,
All right.
your career, and all of that.
Right.
So join us for part 2.
Okay, so we've talked about how accreditation is like this, stamp of approval,
Right.
saying that, yeah, this institution meets these quality standards.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that actually mean,
Yeah.
for you as the listener?
Right. Well, I think the first thing is peace of mind.
Okay.
You're putting your time and money
Into something that's legit.
into a program that's been checked out by experts.
Right. It's like knowing that the food you're eating, has gone through all those safety inspections.
You don't have to be a food scientist to
Yeah.
know that it's good.
Yeah, you see the seal and you're like, okay,
Right.
I can trust this.
So it's that same confidence
Okay.
that you're getting a solid education.
Right, and not just piece of paper.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it can actually open doors for you.
Yeah, it leads to employability.
Oh, okay. So employers are actually looking for this.
Yeah, more and more employers are looking for graduates from accredited institutions.
Because it shows that,
They want to know that you have the right skills and knowledge.
so it's like a shortcut for them.
Yeah, they don't have to check out every single program out there.
Right.
Accreditation does a lot of that work for them.
It's that stamp of approval. Like
Gets a global sign of quality,
which is so important now.
especially in today's world.
So having a degree from an EHEE accredited place
Yeah, it can really make your resume stand out.
makes you more competitive.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got that peace of mind. We've got, that boost to employability.
Right.
What else is there?
Well, it also just gives your degree more credibility.
Okay. How so?
It shows that you didn't just, take some random course online.
You actually went through a rigorous program.
Right. You pursued your education at a place that values quality.
Yeah. So it's not just about what you learned,
Exactly.
but it's about having that recognized by others.
It adds value to your degree.
Whether it's, future employers
Right.
or other schools, if you want to continue your education.
Yeah, even professional organizations.
Now, let's go back to this idea of continuous improvement, which
Yeah.
is something that EA really emphasizes.
It's crucial.
So what does that actually look like in practice?
Well, it means that schools are always trying to evolve.
Okay.
They're not just meeting a standard at one point in time.
So it's not a one and done.
Exactly. They're always trying to get better.
And how do they do that?
Well, EAEO requires schools to get feedback from students and faculty.
Oh.
They want them to evaluate their programs and make adjustments.
So they're really looking at, what's working, what's not.
They want a culture of self-reflection
Okay.
and genuine desire to improve.
Can you give me like a concrete example of that?
Sure. Let's say a school gets feedback that a certain online course
Okay.
is kind of lacking in interactivity.
Yeah.
Maybe they need more discussions or group projects.
Okay.
They would redesign that course to make it more engaging.
So it's about really responding
It's responsive.
to what the students are experiencing.
Exactly.
So that ultimately benefits everybody.
And it ensures that the education you receive is relevant
Yeah.
and up to date.
And it's constantly evolving.
It's about staying ahead of the curve.
Right.
The world is changing so fast.
So for someone looking for, a good online program,
Right.
they should really look for this commitment
Absolutely.
to continuous improvement.
It shows that the institution is really invested in their student success.
Okay, so we've talked about what's in it for the student. But what about employers?
Right.
Why should they care about this?
Well, it helps employers make good hiring decisions.
Okay.
It gives them that assurance that the candidate has a quality education.
Right. It's like another shortcut.
Yeah.
It takes some of the guesswork out of it.
It reduces the risk of hiring someone who's not prepared.
And especially in such a competitive job market,
Absolutely.
employers want people that can just hit the ground running,
They need that peace of mind.
and accreditation can help with that.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got that initial hiring, but what about beyond that?
Well, it can also affect professional development
Okay.
and career advancement.
How so?
A lot of professional organizations and licensing boards
So-
require or at least prefer candidates from accredited institutions.
So it's about upholding those standards.
Right. They want to know that practitioners have a certain level of competence.
So even after you get the job, accreditation still matters.
It can open doors.
Whether that's certifications or, moving up in an organization or anything like that.
Or leadership roles.
Now let's take an even bigger step back
Okay.
and think about this from a societal perspective.
Okay.
How does this all connect to the bigger picture?
Well, accreditation really helps maintain the quality of the whole education system.
Okay.
It sets a benchmark for excellence, and it helps build trust.
Trust in the system.
Right.
So it's not just about the individual student or employer.
It's about the good of society as a whole.
A good education system is so important
Absolutely.
for innovation,
For a thriving economy.
for, informed citizens.
It's essential.
And accreditation helps to ensure that
Right. It helps guarantee that our education systems are producing graduates.
who can actually contribute.
Exactly.
So yeah, it might seem like a kind of boring topic at first,
It's a little bureaucratic.
but it has all these implications
Far-reaching implications.
Yeah. for everybody.
It affects us all.
Yeah. It really is fascinating to see how something that seems so, administrative
Yeah.
can really have
This ripple effect.
huge impact. But I want to bring it back to the listener for a minute.
Okay.
We've talked about all these different aspects,
Mm-hmm.
but what are some key takeaways?
Well, I think the most important thing is to remember that accreditation equals quality.
Right. It's that proof.
It's that verification that a school meets these standards.
So when you see that AE stamp of approval,
Right.
you can feel good about
You can be confident.
your choice.
Yeah.
And that confidence is really important
It lets you focus on your learning.
because you don't have to worry about
You know that you've chosen a good program.
Yeah, whether it's legit or not.
And it can really impact your future.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Employers are really looking for this.
So it's not just about the here and now.
No, it's about your future career.
It's about tomorrow.
Exactly.
It's an investment. And there's also that sense of pride, I
Right.
imagine,
I'll-
in knowing that you graduated from
You've got a degree from a well-respected institution.
a place that really values quality.
Exactly.
Now we've been focusing on EEKA because our listener is interested in European programs.
Right.
But these ideas about accreditation really apply anywhere.
They're global.
Yeah, no matter where you are.
If you're thinking about online education,
Make sure to do your research.
look for accreditation.
Don't just settle.
Ask questions.
Yeah, and remember,
EHEA is a great resource.
they have a website
Tons of information.
about accreditation and quality.
And about institutions that meet their standards.
So it's a great place to start
It really is.
and to connect with others who are also interested.
In that high-quality education.
So as you continue on your learning journey, keep accreditation in mind.
It's such a powerful tool.
It can really help you.
It can help you navigate all of this.
Yeah, this whole world of online education.
It can help you achieve your goals.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it informative
We hope it was helpful.
and empowering.
And please don't forget to follow the European Association for Higher Education Advancement on YouTube and social media